Welcome back. It's part two of Oilers TV Playoffs presented by Sport Check. Chris Wescott alongside Jim Matheson, now breaking down the Ducks side of things. Jim, I know that one of the reasons why maybe the Oilers can't play that physical style game we saw from maybe Zach Kassian in the first series against the Sharks is because of how mobile the Ducks are. Even though they are a big team, their defensemen are mobile.
You're right. Getting Fowler back was a huge boost after he got hurt with the Mark Giordano hit late in the season, and getting Vatanen back is another boost. That's two puck movers along with Montour. So the forechecking part of it is what they want to do, but they move the puck very crisply to the forwards, and the puck's up the ice in a hurry. The possible way to do that is to just keep dumping it in the same defenseman's corner and then force them to go back and play it. And I would dump it in Cam Fowler's corner because he seems to play the most minutes, and then see what happens. But that is a problem when you got a mobile defense. They're not that big, but if they can move the puck, get the puck up the ice, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
Patrick Maroon actually talked this morning about smart dumps, making the smart play into the zone, and maybe that can help them out tonight. Well, we've already talked a lot about Ryan Getzlaf, but it's not just his performance on the ice that the Ducks like, it's his leadership in the locker room and on the bench. Let's take a listen.
I think he makes good points in intermissions and stuff, and on the bench too. And he's a positive guy, and definitely, I mean, he's a lead by example on the ice too. He's probably one of the hardest working guys we got in the team. And he works every shift, he competes every shift, he plays hard, and I mean, he does it both ways.
He has a good feeling for when he needs to, stand up in a locker room and say something, and other times he doesn't say much, he just leads on the ice. So, I mean, he has a good feel for, how to respond to the team or, say something.
Just watching him practice and watching him every night, see how hard he works, it kind of pushes myself to make sure that I bring the same work mentality every night, and you just can't take any nights off. You got to make sure that you bring it every night, and that's something he does very well with lead by example.
All right, Jim, the Ducks are going to try and do something that hasn't been done so far this series, and that's win at home. Why is it that both teams get both their wins on the road?
I don't think that in the old days they had rinks that were different. A home rink might be smaller, like the Boston Garden and the Chicago Stadium, and you had an advantage because you knew that rink better. But now all the rinks are pretty much cookie cutter. The buildings look the same. The ice surface is still 200 by 85. There's not a built-in advantage to playing at home. And I think the teams are so evenly matched, I don't know if home ice makes that much difference. And teams say they want the seventh game at home, which is why they play the regular season, but the Ducks can't win the seventh game at home. So I'm sure they would rather end it in 6, if anything. But home ice in the whole playoffs, it hasn't just been this series, is not a determining factor.
But all-time, when a team loses the first 2 games, wins the next 2, then comes home for Game 5, 19-4 record, makes sense. You get the momentum on the road, you come back home. But the Ducks are a little bit different, aren't they?
They usually win the 5th game, but they don't win the series. They lose the 6th game in the other team's barn, and then lose the 7th game. They have trouble winning a 7th game in their own building, and I don't think they want to get it to a 7th game. They want to end this in 6, not 7. And I have no idea what's going to happen tonight because the Oilers have played better on the road. They're 4-1 on the road than they have been at home this playoff. I suspect Cam Talbot will have to outplay John Gibson for the Oilers to win, and I don't know if he'll have to stand on his head, but it might be time for another goaltender performance where at the end of the game the Anaheim Ducks are saying, we outplayed them, but their goalie was really good. So I think that would be a determining factor as well.
The determining factor might be home ice advantage. We just talked about it there. Let's hear it from the players at the locker rooms at the Honda Center.
I think you can win anywhere in this league now. I mean, it's not what the environment you go into. I think as a visiting team, you go into Edmonton, I think you get hyped up just as much because the atmosphere and everything else. But yeah, I just think it's, like you said, it's even. I think anywhere you go now in the league, or you can win anywhere.
I think in playoffs, I think both teams wants to win as much, and I honestly don't have a good answer why the case in this series has been that they won 2 here and then we won 2 in their building. It's I don't think I've ever seen anything like it in playoffs before. I'm sure it's happened, but I mentioned it before. I think we're going to make sure that we have to take care of our home ice advantage here tonight. This is a big game for us, and we're going to make sure we bring our A game.
I don't know. It's tough to answer. I mean, obviously, it's a lot of pressure. You want to play good hockey in front of your friends, and maybe that's been the case for both us and Anaheim.
Jim, sorry to do this to you. I know you said you don't know what's going to happen tonight, but I'm going to force you. Make an opinion, a prediction for tonight.
Yeah. And an assessment
Yes.
from all the years I've been covering hockey.
Yes. What do you think is going to happen?
I
You've
think
seen
the
a lot of
Ducks will
series.
win tonight. I think the Oilers will win Game 6. I don't. The Ducks have. If it's a close game, I think the Oilers. If they lose the game and it's close, I think they can win Game 6. If it's another, 3-goal win or so for the Anaheim Ducks, then I think the Ducks can close out the Oilers. But I think the Ducks will win tonight.
That will do it for Oilers TV Playoffs presented by Sport Check. We'll have live post-game reaction from the locker rooms and the head coaches on Oilers TV and post-game coverage on EdmontonOilers.com.